It's now been close to a week since Burhan Wani was gunned down by security forces. In the violence that followed, over 30 people are dead and hundreds have been injured in Kashmir. What's the situation today? Why is the centre and the state government on its toes? Getting us the very latest will be Gaurav. He continues to be with us. But remember, curfew is still imposed in 10 districts, and even now the politics is intense. Even though Mehbooba Mufti yesterday spoke out for the first time, appealing for peace. In fact, the situation in Kashmir continues to remain tense. The government and security forces are maintaining a tight vigil on occasion of Martyrs' Day. It is observed in remembrance of the people killed on the 13th of July, 1931. Normal life, even now, remains paralyzed and essential items are in short supply.
मेरे ख्याल में सबसे बड़ा खराज अकीदत इन शहीदों को वही होगा कि जो इन्होंने हासिल किया हम लोगों ने हमारे लिए, इस रियासत के लिए, उसको हम संभालें, उसकी हम प्रोटेक्शन करें, न कि हम यहाँ पर खुदा ना खास्ता कुछ ऐसे उनसर हैं जो यहाँ अमन बिगाड़ना चाहते हैं, जो यहाँ के हालात ख़राब करना चाहते हैं, उनकी उन बातों में ना आके, बल्कि इन शहीदों का सबसे बड़ा खराज अकीदत ये है कि जो इन्होंने हमको दिया उसको हम संभाल सकें.
Gaurav, from some quarters we had seen fears that the situation in Kashmir could be a repeat of what happened in 2010 when hundreds of people lost their lives when security forces clashed with the protesters. On the ground, what do you find today?
Fortunately, Padmaja, it's not back to 2010. Lives have been lost, unfortunately, even this time. In 2010, 120 lives were lost. This time, the toll 32, but even 32 lives a bit too much. And with me is India Today's special correspondent Shuja ul Haq. Shuja and I have travelled across parts of Srinagar, especially downtown, where most people are very scared to go. And this place doesn't look like it's in the peak of tourist season. A week ago, you couldn't walk here, and now there's not a soul in sight.
Absolutely. Gaurav, you actually just came today. You must have seen the airport, how it looks like. Just few days back, this place was chock-a-block. There were hotels were completely flourishing with tourists. But the moment this has started, it has been fifth day now. Most of the people, most of the tourists who were in health resorts or hill stations, they have gone back. They have gone back through air routes, or some of them have taken the road routes. So definitely a very bad news for the tourism industry, or not just for the tourism industry, but the larger economy of the place, because shutdowns and it's a basic imbalance to the economy that happens eventually.
Imbalance to economy, imbalance to life. People extremely tense about what will happen the very next moment. I traveled to downtown Srinagar, and downtown Srinagar is one area where people are very scared to even venture out, and there is massive deployment of security forces when we speak of this area. Battalion after battalion that has now been deployed. Now, people say security forces have launched a virtual frontal attack, 32 lives lost. Security forces, on the other hand, say they've actually followed utmost restraint on ground. Security personnel have been injured, more than 300 security personnel, whether Jammu and Kashmir Police or the Central Reserve Police, they've been injured on ground. But they claim and they insist that they've been using non-lethal weapons in downtown Srinagar. Casualties have been there in South Kashmir, and we'll tell you more about South Kashmir in a moment. But let's take a look at this report that I filed from the heart of downtown Srinagar, Mirwais Omar Farouk's area. We are in the heart of downtown Srinagar. There is curfew in place. This is the Saraf Kadal area. This is the area which is Mirwais Omar Farouk's domain, and this is where you see a lot of stone pelting usually. At this point of time, the Central Reserve Police Force deployed in full strength in their riot gear. Now, if you look at this officer here, while he's wearing his bulletproof jacket, he's also wearing knee protection, shin protection, and the weapons that they're carrying. Now, this weapon that this officer is carrying fires pellets. It's a non-lethal weapon. How many pellets does this weapon fire?
5.
So 5 pellets in one go. It's aimed to hit below the waist, so that it doesn't cause injuries, it doesn't cause lethal injuries. But that's just one of the weapons that these soldiers are carrying. With me is also Commandant Rajesh Kumar. He's the commandant of the unit that's deployed here for the protection of this area. Sir, what are your tasks here?
Basically to maintain peace and tranquility in the area and to ensure that things are going quite smoothly over here.
But they don't appear to be going smoothly at all.
At present we are facing a lot of resistance, especially from stone pelters, and they are quite aggressive, adopting aggressive posture. We are trying our best to restrain ourselves. We are restraining rather, and our men are being inflicted a lot of casualties.
In fact, I was noticing one of the officers here with you has injuries on his hand, one has injuries in his leg, and yet they are deployed.
There are many of them, those who are injured during this course of action in last 3 or 4 days, but still, since it's our job, we have to be here on the field around the clock.
Now today is the Martyrs' Day. It is hoped that it will pass off peacefully. It's been peaceful so far. But if you look around now, this is a place which is extremely crowded at all times, but not today. All the shutters are down, but there is apprehension that the situation could worsen in the evening, and that is why very aggressive patrolling is being mounted in this entire area, not just on the main roads but also in the by-lanes. So you have the Central Reserve Police Force and the Jammu and Kashmir Police that are both deployed in these areas. Announcements are being made on the speakers to ask people, to request people to remain indoors so that the situation gradually comes back to normal. How major are the challenges that you faced here in terms of crowd resistance and anti-national elements pelting grenades, throwing grenades with stones?
Yeah, mostly the most problem and challenging part is that while stone pelting amongst us, we also face grenade lobbing by the anti-social elements. Besides, they are throwing petrol bombs, and even gunshots were heard and fired upon on the security forces.
You haven't fired back?
No, we have not fired, and we have been told to maintain utmost restraint. We are only using non-lethal weapons just to disperse them. That's our only motive.
But there still have been 32 fatal casualties amongst locals.
But they have just ransacked our camps. They have burned our most of the police stations. And in that course of action, some firearms have been used from our side also.
The request of the Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti and the administration on ground is for people to remain indoors till tempers are calm, till people realize that the road ahead should remain peaceful. With cameraman Kirpal Singh in downtown Srinagar, Gaurav Sawant for India Today. And MIM MP Asaduddin Owaisi has hit out at the centre and the state government in Jammu and Kashmir. Asaduddin Owaisi has lashed out at the current situation in Jammu and Kashmir, the fallout of Burhan Wani's killing. He's called it mishandling by the centre, mishandling by the state. With a large number of youngsters out on the streets, Asaduddin Owaisi has said a repeat of 2010 is happening because the 2010 Interlocutors Committee report was junked by then government and not implemented by the current government. Let's listen in to MIM MP Asaduddin Owaisi.
What has happened, which has led to the death of 32 people, was there was a writing on the wall. From last 1.5 years, this alienation had increased, and every political analyst, I as a MP had raised it in Parliament at least 3 times that look, the alienation is increasing. And how is it that when in the funeral prayers of a militant, more than 2 lakh people attended, and then his namaz is offered not once, not twice, not thrice, but more than 10 times, and then which has now led to 32 people being killed over there. So it is the responsibility of the union government and the state government to please put your heads together. You know, show some empathy for what is happening over there.
And it's not just Asaduddin Owaisi who's saying that. There are many voices even on ground who say they feel let down by the centre, they feel let down by the state. It isn't a repeat of 2010 stone pelting, but Shuja, disappointment is large given the fact that a large number of youngsters came out of their houses for Burhan Wani, a terrorist.
Well, absolutely. You know, an estimate was more than 2 lakh people came on the roads. They went to Tral, which is a very huge message that the youth is sending out. And what Owaisi is saying, I don't think that is something which has not been repeated here by a lot of people. Owaisi, if I'm not wrong, was part of the parliamentary, team which was sent here in 2010, and they had made these recommendations. Interlocutors were sent here. There was a report that was made, a humongous report which had many recommendations.
Yes.
But the UPA government, virtually did nothing on it. And not just the UPA government,
What do youngsters here want? What do youngsters want? I mean, clearly nobody wants to be a part of Pakistan. This is just their angst.
Well, see, that's the point. Many believe that what happened after Burhan is not the problem. Burhan perhaps is just the symptom. The problem lies somewhere else. The problem lies that the issues have not been addressed by successive political regimes, by successive political establishments. That's why the questions for those who are in mainstream politics, that why haven't you been able to address them? And, those who are ruling the state right now, if you see, there are a lot of questions being asked to Mehbooba Mufti. In 2010, when she was in opposition,
yes,
she would be all around and, asking various questions, criticizing the government, holding placards. And now the same questions are being asked from her. What really is in her mind, whether there is a game plan that they have to address the aspirations of the youth.
Because this cycle of violence cannot continue to happen again and again and again in Jammu and Kashmir. It happened a little in 2008, in a big way in 2010. It happened subsequently at a smaller scale. So you have 2 seasons of tourism, 1 season of terrorism, and then 1 season of this unrest. This isn't good for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. This isn't good for the centre, Padmaja, and solutions clearly need to be found.
Absolutely, and in fact, right now, even though the politics is speaking, that is not the need of the hour. The need of the hour is to bring the situation back to normal ASAP. But yes, politics is inevitable. Gaurav and Shuja, stay with me because there's more news coming in. The Samajwadi Party has now demanded a discussion in Parliament on Kashmir. Naresh Agarwal of the Samajwadi Party has given a notice for the same in the Rajya Sabha. We've got Juhi Singh of the Samajwadi Party now joining us on the phone line. Juhi Singh, do you have the support of other parties as well for the Kashmir situation and the handling of it by the government to be taken up in Rajya Sabha, in Parliament, when the monsoon session begins next week?
Padmaja, the Samajwadi Party is watching as very serious towards resolving the Kashmir issue, and what we have given a notice to our honourable member is a discussion in the Rajya Sabha, which I think we will get support from other people, and I hope the central government also decides to go with us and let this discussion happen, because as your program has also been showing, Kashmir is an issue we need to solve, and the only way we can solve is first discussing amongst ourselves, and that's the biggest house. So our purpose is to bring to table all the issues involved, have a discussion, and we hope to get other parties on board.
Okay, but in this discussion, what is the Samajwadi Party's stand? Are they endorsing the action that was taken against Burhan Wani by the security forces, or are you not in favor of the kind of aftermath that was seen after Burhan's killing? What is your point of contention when you want this discussion?
Come through the discussion. As I said, that a discussion on Kashmir is most important, and all facets of the entire issue will be examined, keeping in view the rights and let's say the peace coming back to the valley. That's very important for the Samajwadi Party. So for me to say anything else would at the moment just accelerate the issue and take away, not be very responsible about it, but all issues will be discussed.
Okay, for now, Juhi Singh, thank you very much. Remember, you heard it first on India Today that this is an issue that's going to be taken up in Parliament as soon as the monsoon session starts. But who really is behind instigating these young men to take to the streets of Kashmir? It's quite clear there is a Pakistan hand behind it. And here's another instance of how Pakistan is sponsoring terror in India. India Today has learned that Pakistan adopts families of slain anti-India terrorists, active mujahideen and separatists in Jammu and Kashmir for higher education in its state-run colleges. In fact, Hizbul chief Syed Salahuddin serves as a key link. He's a placement agent of sorts in this entire process that involves various Pakistani scholarship schemes for adolescents related to terror groups in the valley. Here's how it works. Salahuddin first of all recommends these people as candidates for medical, engineering and management courses across the border. His recommendations are then routed through the Pakistan's ISI. Top Indian intelligence sources have confirmed this to India today, and Islamabad, it seems, has made it a policy to reserve seats for Kashmiri teenagers. Alright, in fact, we'll get back to our focus story from Kashmir, but right now there is more news coming in. We're getting breaking news that there is a massive setback for Asaduddin Owaisi's AIMIM. The Maharashtra Election Commission has cancelled its registration as a state political party, which basically means that the AIMIM cannot contest the upcoming civic polls in the state. And through the evening also, remember, we are going to keep getting you live reports from Srinagar. Executive Editor Gaurav Sawant is there on the ground. Shujaul Haq, our colleague, has been reporting non-stop from across Kashmir. For now, Gaurav, thanks very much for joining us. Stay tuned to India Today for the very latest.